What's up, ladies and gentlemen? Boys and girls, children of all ages, we're going to get started right now. Taking control of your branding and marketing. All right, let me hit record here. All right, taking control of your branding, your marketing through the power of podcasts, brought to you by the Business Bros Podcast. We put a show on every single day, and it has really transformed our business. And I wanted to share this opportunity with you guys. So here we go. Let's get this thing on the road. First of all, I want you guys to understand that I know where you're coming from. You just want to build a business and you're tired of the same old marketing strategies that have been pitched to you over and over again. And if you failed at social media or branding in the past, I want you to understand that, first of all, it's okay. It's not your fault. All right. You've probably been told over and over again, you need to post more consistently. You need to more content, more content, more content. Problem is, no one's ever showing you what to say or how to post this stuff. So you do what everybody else does. Naturally, you go to a marketing company and they sell you on the promise of the easy button, right? Like magically, somehow they're going to make you rich overnight. They're just going to turn the faucet of leads in and you're going to get all these leads coming in and everything's going to be hunky-dory. Truth is, those leads pretty much suck, right? They're not very good leads at all. But you still go fishing in that pool of leads and you get one or two every once in a while. And so you're hooked, right? And every time you talk to this marketing company, all they really care about is, well, send us more money. We'll send you more leads. They don't care if you succeed or not. They just want to hold you hostage to the lead generation pool that you're in, right? So you're not really achieving your dreams and goals. You're spending all your time filtering through these bogus leads that they're sending you. And instead you're helping them achieve their goals by cutting them a check every single month. So look, that's where we're a little bit different. All right. We want to help you build a business where your friends and your family are going to refer you business on a regular basis because they think of you when they think of your product or service. So if you're in insurance, when they think of insurance, they think of you. If you're in real estate, when they think of real estate, they think of you. And we're going to help show you how to do that on this webinar. So our mission is to A, show you how to take control of your branding and your marketing. B, help you become a thought leader in your industry. That means when they think of you, of your product or service, they think of you. And we're going to show you how to build a referral-based business that creates wealth for you today and generational wealth for tomorrow. Because if you talk to anybody who's been in business over 10 years or 15 years, whatever, they always say their business comes in from referrals. We're going to help you build that foundation so that you can build a business that is built on a referral platform. All right. So check it out. I have two goals for this webinar. Goal number one, I'm going to help two kinds of people. First, if you're a beginner, if you've never done anything with podcasting, I'm going to teach you what you need to do to get your own podcast started and where to find resources so that you can be successful in podcasting. And then goal number for the second type of person, this is like the more ambitious entrepreneur. You're going to learn how to level up your game, become a bigger influencer, get speaking gigs, get on TV, and some other media exposure. Goal number two is by the end of this webinar, I want you guys to understand the opportunity. So I need you to understand why consistent branding and marketing is the key to success. Most of you do. However, I want you to also understand that podcasting is how you're going to create the content to make your friends, your circle of influence, see you as the expert that you are. Because let's face it, you are the expert. It's just that nobody really knows that yet. So let me tell you where we came from. So 2 years ago, before we had this podcast, I had no social media presence whatsoever. I knew I was supposed to be on social media, but I never knew what to do or what to say, what to post. I would grab my phone, try to hit the record button. Nothing comes out. I didn't know what to say. I wanted to build a business. I had an insurance agency, but I wanted one of those businesses that you read about, like those entrepreneurs that, like, it seems like whatever they post out there, like people are just flocking to them. That's the kind of business I wanted to build. And I personally lacked confidence. I mean, I had skills. I had a repertoire. I mean, I have a degree in accounting. I have a math credential. I have an insurance license. I have a real estate license. I had a tax practice since about 2006. I've had all these things. I just lacked the confidence. I didn't have the credibility out there to talk about these sort of things. Nobody knew who I was. And then I came across podcasting. So Gary Vee, I had my real estate coach at the time, all saying the same type of thing. You need to start a podcast. You need to start a podcast. You need to start a podcast. And so I listened, I did. And the cool thing about podcasting is I was able to control a lot of things. So I prepared every episode in advance. I would listen to each episode so I can improve my skills. I built the confidence slowly but surely so that I started utilizing this podcasting tool as the best way to start prospecting. So prior to this, prospecting, I don't know about you guys, but to me, prospecting always sucked because I had to filter through all the no's. Whenever you prospect, you hear no after no after no after no. But when I had my podcast, once the podcast started, I would prospect, I would get guests on my show that I wanted to prospect to. And all of a sudden, it shifted from hearing no all the time to hearing yes. 9 times out of 10 people would say they wanted to be on my podcast. And usually I would say 10 out of 10, but every once in a while I'd bump into somebody who wasn't comfortable behind the mic or behind the camera. And so they would say no, but most of the time, 9 times out of 10, people say yes when you have a show. Really open the door to prospecting. So where are we today? 2 years into this show, we've done over 400 episodes. We do our show Monday through Friday. It started with audio only, but now we do Facebook Lives, YouTube Lives, Instagram Live, stories, posts, all kinds of different stuff, right? We've established this trusted brand, this Business Bros logo, this brand is recognized throughout our social media platforms because we post on a regular basis. People know, like, and trust us, and they want to do business with us. So much, in fact, that in our insurance agency last month alone, we wrote over $25,000 in premium just from the podcast referrals. It's been awesome. And then as far as real estate is concerned, because I initially got into podcasting to sell more houses, it didn't work out at first because I started interviewing real estate people. So it's kind of hard to sell a house to a real estate agent. But because I was posting stuff on a regular basis, my friends and family saw all the real estate stuff. And so when they have questions for real estate, what do? They send the leads over my way. And it's awesome because these people already know what it is I do. They've seen our brand. They trust us. And these are warm leads coming in. This is not like somebody I have to go and pre-qualify and try to get them to know me. No, they already know, like, and trust me. They already want to work with me. They're choosing to work with me. I'm deciding whether I want to work with them. Completely different ballgame. And then lastly, I've built some amazing relationships. You always hear that saying that your network is your net worth, right? That you're going to become the average of the 5 people. Your income is going to be the average of the 5 people you spend your most time with. Well, because of the podcast, I've been able to talk to network with, to be around some of the most successful entrepreneurs in multiple industries. So as I elevate my game, I hang out with more and more people who are smarter than I am. I learn more and I become more educated, more proficient. I get better at what it is I do, all because of this podcasting thing. So let me show you. I want to share with you 3 secrets to help you guys get podcasting like right away, okay? Secret number 1 is how to get people to listen by raising the volume. Secret number 2, I want you to learn exactly what to do and what to say to get your podcast going. And then secret number 3, I want to help you overcome fear and build the confidence to podcast. All right. So let's start off with secret number 1. How do you get people to listen? By raising the volume. All right. So most of you guys have heard of the podcast medium. You have because you're on this webinar, right? There's new podcasts coming out every single day, but let me compare some stats with you. Okay. Because people are like, oh, maybe I'll just start a YouTube channel or write a blog. If you're going to start a YouTube channel, there are over 31 million YouTube channels that you have to compete with out there. If you're going to write a blog, there's over 500 million blogs on the internet. When it comes to podcasting, there are less than 1 million podcasts out there. It's still a medium in its infancy, and most people are using it the wrong way. So let me tell you some more stats anyways. 12% of those podcasts that are out there, remember there's less than a million, 12% of them only have 1 episode. It's because they quit. 50% of all podcasts out there, so 500,000 of these, have less than 14 episodes. And they stop podcasting after that. The reason why they stop podcasting is because no one is listening. So see, they go into this thing thinking they're going to be the next Joe Rogan or something, right? And so they go in, they do a couple episodes, and they find out real quick that nobody's listening to them. So what do? They quit. And that's not a good reason to quit. That is a horrible reason to quit. Because when you're first getting started in podcasting, you don't even understand you can barely stand your own voice. You don't know how to get behind the mic, hold a conversation, do a good interview. You don't have none of those skills yet. You need to develop them over time. And you have to be able to put your brand out there so that people hear about you, so they know you, so they see your logo, and then they come and want to listen to your show more regularly. So here's the deal. Truth is, you're in business right now, and you're trying to get customers to come to your business. If you're not, if you're already super successful, you're probably not on this webinar. So if you're doing this webinar, it's because you want more clients to come to your particular business. And the truth is, no one's listening to you right now. In your business, no one's listening to you right now. You have a business and your goal is to get clients to come over, but you're trying to scream at them some way, right? You're picking up the phone and you're trying to go through and see if somebody will even talk to you, and you get no and no and no and no and no. And every once in a while, maybe you get a yes. Same thing when you go door knocking. You go knock on doors and most people say no, 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 no. But eventually somebody says yes. And the more you do that, the more consistency you have, then the more successful you'll become. You start enriching those relationships, right? But your voice is so small at this point. Nobody's really listening to you. So what do we want? What do we need you to do? Well, in order for you to become successful at this thing, you need to start creating content, right? You've heard that before. A podcast episode is a piece of content. And let me give you some stats on like how often people's attention is grabbed on particular content. So when it comes to your blog, for example, if you write a good article, a good blog piece, it's going to be about 5 to 10 minutes that you're going to grab somebody's attention. That's pretty good. If you put a good YouTube video out, maybe 3 to 5 minutes of their attention is what you're going to get on a good YouTube video. Social media posts, now on Instagram, the post can't be more than 60 seconds long. So you're going to grab somebody's attention for less than a minute. But for podcasts, podcast listens on average are over 30 minutes long. 30 minutes. That's because people listen to a podcast while they're running, while they're in the car driving from place to place, at the gym, cleaning the house. It's on. So if you record one piece of content, one episode of your podcast, people are going to listen to your voice, your enthusiasm, your story about your business over and over again, 30 minutes long at a time. Now, that's one piece of content. It's searchable. You can find it online. That's great. But if we take that 30-minute piece of content and we chop it up, right? We cut it up and maybe we take a piece, and now this is a 60-second piece that we're going to throw on Instagram. So now you've taken that 30-minute piece of content and you've shrank it down. Now you got a couple 1-minute segments, and now you got another piece on the internet talking in your voice with your enthusiasm, your excitement about your product that people are paying attention to. And then we take another piece and we cut it up in maybe a 3 to 5 minute segment, and we throw that one on YouTube. Each one of these pieces of content is out there like an employee working for you 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, with your voice, your enthusiasm, your energy, everything right there talking about you and your business. How many of those employees would you want on a regular basis marketing for you? Of course, an unlimited amount, right? So that's the beauty of this podcast. We're taking a 30-minute piece of content. We created an Instagram piece. We created a YouTube piece. We're going to transcribe it. It means we're going to take the audio, turn it into word. We're going to put it in a blog. Now you got another searchable piece of content. And we can continue to do this and create content piece after content piece after content piece. We're literally raising the volume of places where people can find you online to see your brand, see your marketing, see your mess, engage you so that they begin to listen more and more. How do you get people to listen? By raising the volume of content. The more pieces of content you can put out there, the better. But now I've solved your problem. I've taken 30 minutes of content via podcasting and we've broken it up into different sections. The power of podcasting, right? It's a beauty. All right. Secret number 2. How about learn exactly what to do or what to, I showed you how you can create more content, right? It still doesn't really solve the problem of picking up the camera or the audio, right? And what am I going to say? What am I going to do? So let's learn exactly what to do and what to say. So when we first got started in podcasting, we made a bunch of mistakes early on. I mean, we made mistakes when it comes to equipment, whether we were recording, editing. We made mistake after mistake after mistake. We even, like I told you before, when you first get started, you don't really have a voice very well. You don't know what you're going to say. You don't know how you're going to script it out. None of that stuff. So we would record our episodes and then we would listen to them again. And the purpose for listening to them again after we posted them is to see if we can get better. So my 8-year-old, my son told me, hey, Dad, did you guys know you say MK after every sentence? And so we would listen to our podcast over and over again. And as we're listening to each episode, I started to notice, you know what? I say MK, right? I have these little mannerisms or whatever, filler words that I stick in these sentences, and I say them over and over again. So what we did was we grabbed these glass jars and we grabbed quarters. And every time we were listening to our show live, as we're recording it, every time we would hear ourselves, my co-host and I, James, we would hear, okay, whatever, after each sentence, we would drop a coin. It would make a big, loud clink, clink sound every time we would say those words. And as we would listen to the show, we were correcting ourselves right on the spot and improving what we were doing. So we want you to do the same thing. I don't want you to have to step in every single hole we did. I want to teach you some ways to get over these humps without making the same mistakes. So you have an idea, you want to start a podcast. Let's create a plan so that you can put these things into action. In order for you to have a good plan, you must absolutely 100% vital to your success, must have a schedule. Okay. And there's 3 things that you got to have on this schedule. First is a recording time. When we first started, we would offer our guests to come over Monday through Friday, and it was a 3 p.m., a 4 p.m., or 5 p.m. slot. And that sounds good, except you have a life outside of this podcast, right? And so I didn't at that point because I didn't know when the guest was going to book, on what day, at what time they were going to book. And so if I had to take my kid to soccer practice or to rehearsal or whatever else was going on in my day, I could never really schedule it in on time. So stick to a specific recording time. Now we record Monday through Friday at 4 p.m.-ish sharp. And that way I know exactly what I'm doing. For that 1 hour, I am recording the podcast and I can plan my life around that. It becomes part of my normal daily routine. It's there, it's available. I know what's happening. Schedule your 1 hour spot for your recording time. If you want to make your recordings longer, you can. We record for 30 minutes roughly. Some of them go a little bit longer if the conversation is good. But 30 minutes is a good schedule time for that podcast. But you have an hour buffer in there. Okay. So 1 hour for recording time. The next thing you have to put on your schedule is posting. So you've recorded the 30-minute piece of content. Next, you got to actually put that on the internet, right? So what we got to do is we got to take the audio. We got to see if the volume is correct. So we're going to adjust the volume on that. We're going to add an intro and an outro. We're going to create the show notes. We got to create the thumbnail. We got to upload the MP3s, all that stuff, right? Now I've gotten to a point where I can get this done in about 20, 25 minutes per episode. But I've been doing it for so long. Schedule that 1 hour spot, and I'm going to show you secret ways, nice little ways to cut yourself some time here in a second so that you can save time on all these different things. But when you start off scheduling that hour. So an hour for recording, an hour for posting. Okay. The next thing you have to do is schedule another hour for social content. Okay. So remember we talked about, we got this 30-minute segment. We're going to chop it up into smaller pieces. So I'm going to give you a way to do 2 things at the same time, right? Kill 2 birds with 1 stone. Here we go. So once you've recorded and posted your episode, I want you to listen to it. I don't care whether you listen to it in your car, you listen to it at the gym. I don't care where you listen to it, but I want you to listen to the episode that you posted. And I want you to do 2 things while you're listening to that episode. Number 1 is I want you to critique yourself. Right? So listen and tell yourself, oh man, I should have asked this question. Man, that was a run-on sentence. I could have said this. Maybe I should have stopped talking at this point. I could, all these different things, maybe I say, okay, at the end of every sentence. Critique yourself so that you're trying to get better every single episode, right? So take some notes. Second thing is timestamp. So what I want you to do is, as you're listening to the episode, when you hear something good, some little golden gem that's in there, maybe it's a 30-second, 60-second, a minute, couple minutes, whatever it is, timestamp it. In other words, at 6 minutes, 52 seconds, I like this little segment, and write down that timestamp. Because when you go back into your calendar time and you have this hour for social media content creation, now you have a bunch of different timestamps of some important stuff that you want to post. So you don't have to listen to the whole thing again. You've already listened to it one time. You can go straight to that timestamp, cut out that little segment, and now you got a good piece to go, right? You're saving yourself that extra time. You want to listen to yourself to improve, but at the same time, you want to listen so that you can save yourself time on cutting it up and repurposing the content. All right. So those are the 3 things that you need to put on your schedule. Next, to make sure that your action plan works, are scripts. Now, we got a couple different kinds of scripts. First, a show, right? So I don't know what kind of show you're going to have. I suggest an interview-based show, but some of you might not have an interview-based show, and that's fine. So when we first started, we would outline every single episode, exactly what we were going to talk about on an outline so that we wouldn't fumble, we wouldn't stumble. We knew what was next on the conversation. Everything would flow correctly, right? So we've created some scripts for you to help you with your show notes so that you know exactly what to do. Good scripts that are written in for the show can also turn around and become the show notes when you're doing the posting and the posting of the episode, right? So that's for the show notes. The other thing is an interview, right? So you have somebody who you're going to have on the show, and having a good interview script will help you pull the story that they have out of them. So asking the right questions in the right order will help get a story in a nice chronological order from your guests. And the interview is all about the guest. The guest is excited to answer these questions because it's all about them. It gives you a good feel for the guest, and you're pulling a great story out. So having both those scripts is vital and help you get started. Scripts, you don't have to go at them line by line. It's just to help you get ready for the show. Internalize the scripts, you'll get a good idea of how they flow, and then kind of make them your own as you go along. But to get started, that's the best way to get started, right? And then, of course, how about guest acquisition scripts? So how do you get people to come on your show? What do you say to them? What kind of ideas? Like, I don't know what to say. It's okay. We've created those scripts for you. So that way you just follow them based on different industries. You can look at the script, ask people to be on your show at that point. They're going to say yes, of course, because it's the best prospecting tool we got out there. And boom, now you got them squared away. So scheduling and scripts, right? You got an idea. Here's the plan. Now all you got to do is take action. So we've taught you exactly what to do, what to say, right? Next, let's move into equipment, because that's always one of those big things that people freak out about. So let me put the video part up here so it goes away a little bit, actually. Okay, so learn exactly what to do, what to say. So we got an iPhone and an app, and we're ready to roll. You don't need anything fancy to get started in podcasting. Now, it's nice. It looks better. It's cool. It might sound a little better, but you don't need it to get started. If you have an iPhone or a regular phone, any smartphone, download the app Anchor FM, and you're ready to rock and roll. Now you can plug in the regular headset that you use, AirPods, whatever, and you're ready to go. Anchor FM allows you to record the podcast, edit the podcast, use voicemail so they can get people to send you clips, audio clips. You can distribute to Spotify, iTunes, pretty much any platform that has podcasts. You can even monetize, add sponsors to your particular podcast so you can start making some money. It even has analytics so you know how many people are downloading. Everything you need is right there on your phone. That's all you need. Now, if you do want to do something a little fancier, maybe you do have a budget, that's totally okay too. I'm going to share with you the equipment that we use to get started. And if that's where you want to go, by all means, go for it. All right. So first of all, this mic that you see me talking on, it's called the Rockville RCM03. And I'd like to tell you that I knew what I was doing when I first got started, but I didn't. I picked this mic because it looked fancy and because Amazon gave me a 4-pack because I knew I wanted to do interviews. That's it, right? Now it turns out I made a pretty decent choice. It's a good microphone, as you can hear. It sounds pretty clear on our podcast. We love them. They're going to run you about $52 or so, but you can get them in silver and in gold. Okay, so these connect using XLR cables. So those are the cables that are there on the side. Everything you see there comes with a microphone. Those XLR cables plug into two things. One of them turns into an auxiliary. You can plug it directly to your laptop, so you're ready to go. Now you got a mic and you got it plugged into your laptop, you're good to go. If you have multiple mics, obviously that's not going to work for a laptop. You're going to need what we use over here. This is called an audio interface. It's by Focusrite. It's called the Scarlett 18i8. Now, this is going to run you about $400, but this is a 4-port system, so we can plug in 4 microphones. They have a 2-port, they have a 1-port, they get cheaper and cheaper. Price-wise, but this is a great little piece of equipment. It takes all 4 microphone inputs, plugs them into the Scarlett, and then from the Scarlett we get a USB cable out, and it goes into my MacBook Air, and we use this free program called Audacity. Now, the reason why we went with Audacity is because now I use the MacBook Air. Before, I used a PC. Audacity works on both PC and Mac, so that's why we ended up choosing that one over GarageBand. GarageBand is another option. It's also free. So anyways, it takes the audio from the Focusrite, takes it digitally on Audacity, and on Audacity, that's where we modify the volumes. That's where we maybe cut some stuff out, add the intros, add the outros, whatever we want to do at that point, we get it done. That's the editing software for the sound, and it's free to use. Now, that's it. That's how we got started in podcasting. This is pure audio right here. Everything you see here is audio only. As we started doing the shows, we started getting guests on the show, and they're like, "Hey, you guys should do video." And I had no idea how to do video. We were like, "Yeah, but it's got a lot of cameras set up." And somebody said, "No, you should use Sling Studio." So Sling Studio, if you choose to use it, will set you back about $1,000. But the beautiful thing about Sling Studio is we literally film our podcast using our cell phones. So I have a Droid. My brother has a iPhone. I think it's like an iPhone 8 or something like that. And whatever phone the guest brings in, that's camera 3. You literally download an app on the phone, Sling Studio app, turn on Sling Studio. It connects to your laptop, to your Mac, and boom, that's it. So while I'm doing the interview on the show, James, my co-host, he's literally changing the camera angle. So if I'm talking, cameras on me, guest is talking, cameras on them. He could do a split screen. He can add our logo. He can add a banner with their names on it. He can do all kinds of cool stuff. Plus, it allows us to go Facebook Live. It allows us to go YouTube Live, or some other streaming platforms are available there too. So everything about Sling Studio turned the video part of our podcast. It made it super easy, live edits as we go. So yeah, it's going to set you back $1,000, but it's also going to save you a ton of time. Now, Sling Studio works great if you have somebody in the studio, in you, recording with you locally. If it's somebody who's far away, well, now everybody knows this program, but this is Zoom. So we use Zoom for a while. We use the webinar paid version. The paid version allows you to go on Facebook Live, YouTube Live, that sort of stuff. The free version will allow you to record it, and then you can post it later. So you can get away with the free version too, and that'll take care of your video stuff. So this is it. Now you got audio, now you got video, you got your podcast, you're ready to rock and roll. You're set. You don't need anything else. And there are other ways to do it too. I'm just sharing with you the way that we do it. So that's how we've been successful at it. Okay, so that's secret number 2. Learn exactly what to do and what to say. So now you guys are ready to rock and roll. Now you learned, how to get people to listen by raising the volume. I've taught you what to do and what to say, how to schedule yourself out so you can get ready to rock and roll, what equipment you're going to need. Let's move into secret number 3, how to overcome the fear and build the confidence. Because now the only thing stopping you is yourself, right? You're afraid to go on and take the next step, which is actually do the podcast. So here's how it works. If you're in a position right now where you don't like the way you feel physically, maybe you're overweight, maybe you're struggling, with your own health issues, it's usually, aside from like that, right? It's usually because you spent your time doing things that are not beneficial, right? So if you're overweight, it's probably because you spent your time not working out. Make sense? If you're in a financial position where you're struggling, it's probably because you were doing things with your time that were not to your financial benefit. So you're exactly where you are today as a result of what you spent your time on in the past. So if you spent your time not learning about your own marketing, not taking control of your own marketing, not building your own brand, then it's no wonder why your business doesn't have an established brand, doesn't have an established marketing plan, is not generating referrals. Make sense? So right now, when it comes to podcasting, you're like a little seed we just planted. We got to feed and nurture you so that you grow every day, so you start to develop some deep roots, you rise and shine, provide shade, provide fruit, and you're going to be a strong tree like this guy right here, right? That's what we want to get you as far as your business, where it's deep rooted so that it's building referrals on a regular basis. So let me help you do these things. First, I need to plant the seed in your mind. And I want to tell you that, yes, you can do this. 2 years ago, I couldn't even spell the word podcast. Right? I have no idea how to do any of this stuff. I didn't know how to plug the stuff in. I didn't know how to connect it. I didn't know how to post things online. I didn't know about an art. I didn't know anything about podcasting. But now I am really good at it because I've done this every single day for the last 2 years, multiple times a day. You too can do this. We're going to provide you the support to get there. We're going to feed and nurture you. We're going to help you with your scheduling. We're going to help you with your scripting. We're going to help you with your connecting your equipment, get your questions answered, all that stuff. We're going to be here to support you because 100% we want to see you succeed. I want you to take control of your own branding and your own marketing. And I want you to grow every single day. So part of what we have you do is to listen to yourself. Remember, listen to your episodes. So you're critiquing yourself. You are going to have questions. You're going to get answers to these types of things through our program. We want to help you grow every single day to make your podcast that much better, to improve your business's marketing and branding strategy. And we want to do that by helping you grow deep roots. This is why we emphasize so much to do an interview-based platform, an interview-based podcast, because you're going to connect with new people. Now, you can call it interviews or you can call it prospecting. It's the same thing. You're talking to people that you want to do business with. And the best way to do business with people is to get to know people that know, like, and trust you. Then they're going to do business with you, especially if you send them business, they're also going to send you business. It works both ways. So we want you to grow some deep roots by establishing relationships via the interview process. And as you continue to learn your scripts, as you continue to grow every day in your speaking skills, in your podcasting skills, as you get to meet more people and develop your relationships, you're gonna have the confidence you need to rise and shine. You're gonna be like this young lady. You're gonna get to the point, with our help, you're gonna get to the point where you're gonna pick up your phone and you're gonna turn on your Facebook Live and not have any fear. You're gonna have 100% confidence. You're gonna be able to pick up your phone and start an Instagram post and talk to it with 100% confidence. I can even tell you, you'll probably get to the point where you're going to be able to jump on a stage and talk to an audience of people with no fear. Oop, don't know what that was. So you're going to get to that point. You're going to rise and shine. You're also going to be able to provide fruit and provide shade because you're putting out so much content in your field. Your friends and family, your circle of influence is going to know exactly what you do, and they're going to come to you with questions. And you might not always be able to service that client, but you'll have a network of people who will. And so when they come to you and ask you for help, you're going to send that referral to the professional that you've networked with. And that professional is going to be grateful. And guess what they're going to do when they have a referral? They're going to send it your way. You're going to provide fruit and shade. You're going to be able to help both ways. That is how you build the foundation for a business that generates referrals so that you can generate wealth today and generational wealth for tomorrow. You're literally building your business for a long-term play using a podcast. This is how you establish your brand. This is how you establish your marketing using this platform. It's a very powerful tool. Now, look, I have one question for you. If you followed what I showed you today from these 3 secrets, right? If I showed you how you can overcome fear and build the confidence to podcast, right? I'm going to help you all those steps of the way. If I told you exactly what to do and what to say, like what equipment you should use, what schedule you should use, what scripts you should use, and if I taught you how to get people to listen by raising the volume, so I'm going to show you how to chop up these things and take a long form content, turn it into small form content so you can get louder and louder on the internet. You have more social proof. You think you can be successful? Of course you can, right? So I know that in the last 25, 30 minutes, I've just spent I shared so much information. You look like this young lady right here. You got a fire hose of information just coming at your face, and you will have questions. So we've created a program for those of you who are ready to get started podcasting right away, right? So if you're ready to get started in podcasting, then we have something that I'd like to share with you. It's only going to take about 10 minutes of your time, but I'm going to show you how you can take control of your branding or marketing. Now, it's a special offer. It'll only take 10 minutes, and I know that you're going to love this. It's going to be what's going to take you to the next level. It's what I'm already doing. So if you're interested, here we go. You guys ready? All right, let's do this. This is what we call the do-it-yourself, the DIY podcasting. So what are you going to get? First of all, you're going to get all our scripts and templates. So the guest acquisition scripts and the interview scripts and a bunch of other stuff so that you know exactly how to get people to come on your show. And then once they're on your show, you're going to know exactly what to say to get the best stories out of them to build the best content, right? Because a good script's not only going to help you with the interview process, it's also going to help you with your show notes. You're also going to get 12 semi-private coaching calls per month. That's 3 a week. So on Tuesdays, Wednesdays, and Thursdays, I'm going to be on a call with you. I'm going to share some information to help, move things along as far as the coaching program is concerned. But at the same time, you're going to have questions, you're going to have answers, and I'm going to be there live to open up the call. So 15, 20 minutes is me presenting a specific topic. And then after that, it's Q&A. And this is where you get all the help that you're looking for, because you're going to have questions and I'm going to be there to help you answer them. That's a $2,400 a month value there. Okay. So get those questions answered to get you in the best position to succeed. And then we're going to have 2 expert mentor calls per month. So what's an expert? This is somebody who knows their stuff, right? I am not the best video editor in the world. I know people who are good at what they do. So I'm going to get them to come over on the show and talk to you about video editing, or it could be somebody who works in the audio space, or it could be somebody in the Facebook advertising space, whatever it's going to be. I'm going to bring experts on to help you improve your skills in this field, because you're going to want answers to questions that I may not have the answers to. So of course I'm going to get some experts to come on and get those questions answered. $1,200 a month value on that guy. All right. Access to our private Facebook groups and monthly meetups. Now, right now, the private Facebook group is definitely a go. Okay, so we have a private Facebook group set up for when we launch your particular class. However, the monthly meetups, because of COVID, they're on hold right now. But I will make sure to credit you guys that for the package that you guys can go to our monthly meetups. That's a $300 a month value, and we're gonna get you guys out there to network with people, because it's always good to meet new people, especially in the same space that you're in. So if you're podcasting, there are other people who are doing things a little bit differently, trying out new things, trying out new concepts, and it's always great to network with people. All right. So that's a $300 a month value. Next, we're going to get you listed in and access to a podcast directory. What the heck is that? Look, you're going to want to get people to be on your show, right? Well, where are these people? You can go searching for them online, or there are people who are already listed in a podcast directory that have their hand up that are saying, me, I want to be on a show. I'm an expert in X field. Now you can reach out to these people, get them on your show, because you have access to the podcast directory. Not just that, we're going to list you in it so that you can be a guest on other people's shows, right? It's always good to have guests and be guests on other people's show, because every time you have a guest, when they share that content with their friends and family, some of them you're going to jive with, and they're going to want to listen to more of your content. And you've just acquired a little bit more of an audience. When you go on somebody else's podcast and they listen and their audience listens to you, some of them are going to want to know more about you, and they're going to follow you to your podcast. You're literally taking small pieces of audience, the more people that you reach in different ways. So you want people to be on your podcast, and you want to be on other people's podcasts, and the directory is going to help you do that. That's a $50 value there. Lastly, we're going to get you a monthly one-on-one call for your media hook and strategy plan. So I told you at the beginning that some of you have ambitions more than podcasting. You want to be on television, you want to be on radio, you want to be on newspaper, you want to be on magazines. That's not 100% my forte. So we bring somebody on to help you do that. It's a little bit of additional coaching, but they're going to help you set up your media page so that can reach out to magazines or televisions or radio stations to get that information, so that you look like a rock star, and they're going to want to interview you. We're going to create a strategy plan to help you get those types of exposures that you're looking for. So it's a way to help elevate your game. That's a $97 value right there. Now, all in all, that's a $4,144 value. But of course, I'm not going to charge you that much. So our 4-week podcast coaching program is $797. And because you guys are on this live webinar, I'm going to give you an extra special offer only if you're watching this particular video. So don't tell anybody. All right. So this special is going to be $297. So we're going to knock off $500 from our retail value. Okay. So all you got to do is go to businessbros.biz/DIY podcast and get started today. So if you're watching this in replay, well, we might have already had one start, but we're going to start one every week so you guys can make sure that you start on the program. It's a 4-week program. And what the heck's involved in this program? Let me share that with you. So it's businessbros.biz/DIY products, DIY podcast. Sorry. Make sure you guys go to DIY podcast. And it's a 4-week coaching program where the first week is all about podcast development. So we're going to be talking about your RSS feed, how to create your cover art, how to make sure that you're on the right platform so we get good distribution, all this, your show theme, all these different things to get your podcast developed, right? The very beginning. So that's week 1. Week 2, we're going to be talking about podcast promotion. So just like a movie in the theater, right? So when the movie comes out, you always see all these promos beforehand. So whether you're coming out on other people's podcasts, whether we're creating any of the attention, like the previews that you see on that movie, so that when the movie comes out, it's not like the first time that anybody's hearing about it. If they did that, it wouldn't be a box office hit at all. So they hype it up all the way through beforehand, and then we boom, launch it. So that's podcast promotion. And then we got podcast launch and visibility. So this is when we actually get out there and we start chopping up all our content. We want to give ourselves as much exposure as possible for every single episode that's out there. We're going to talk about Facebook groups and that sort of stuff in this section. And then the last piece is podcast monetization. So there's different ways to make money. Everybody for most part, when you think of podcasts and monetization, everybody jumps to the sponsor thing. And yes, you can make money off sponsorships, but that's not the only way. There are a number of different ways that you can make money off podcasting. And so we're going to be talking about that in week 4, how to monetize your podcast. So again, if you're listening to some replay, this particular live webinar is for the April 7th launch date. We do have different start dates. So go ahead and go to businessbros.biz/DIY podcast to get yours started today. Do not delay. Now that you're stuck in quarantine, you're going to want to make sure you take advantage of this time and broadcast your stuff. Make sure that your brand is out there, staying top of mind with your circle of influence as much as possible. If you don't do it, your competition will. All right, guys, that's all I got for you guys today. Make sure you go to businessbros.biz/DIY podcast.